Yo guys, what is up? My name is Matt, also known as StoneKoldSlayer, and today I'll be showing you guys how to install some vinyl click-together plank. It is, what you see here, they are 3 foot by 7 inches, I believe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, 7 by 4. 7 by 4 foot wide pieces. So basically, I will be showing you guys how to cut doorways, how to cut to the wall, how to lay in the field, and I can explain how to start a room and how to finish a room. So I'll basically show you guys what to do step by step from beginning to end. So to start, I guess I will show you how you start a room. So basically, I've already gotten a little bit of this done, if you can see here. I've done about 2 rooms here. So this whole room's already been done. Everything. The window was left open, so there's a little bit of water there. So yeah, all this is already done. But I basically started on this back wall here. So what I do, I just cut it at random size with these plank pieces. If they are 12 by 24s, normally you want to brick those style. It's different for everyone. You have to take a look at the box, see what the instructions say. But basically, I start full piece on a wall. I cut it down to some random length. I cut a couple down. Those are my starter pieces. So I got a full length piece here, I think, and then cut and cut. No, it was cut off. But so should shot X on that. But basically, I start a full piece, and you're supposed to leave a 1/4 inch gap. I normally leave about 1/8 of an inch gap between the wall and the floor. That way there's some room for expansion. I do like doing 1/8 because some trim's pretty thin nowadays. You got some 3/8 inch thick, you know, if the wall's crooked in any way, then your gap could grow and then it wouldn't cover with the base. So this job's already have base on the wall, so it's just getting quarter on. Anyways, so that's how I start a room. Just cut it full and then cut it off on the other wall. So here I'll be showing you guys how to cut a door jamb. Alright guys, I'm sure you can see my hands at least, if nothing else. So, sorry. What I like to do is I like to try to have a seam in the middle, so I don't have both cuts in one piece if possible. If, you know, it's already laid out, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, here I'm gonna try to have my seam somewhere about here in the middle or so. So I got my plank here. So to do that, I want the plank to start about there. So we'll just imagine this is the starting point for the plank, is this crack, give or take. So from that crack we got 14 5/8. So we'll transfer that onto our plank. This stuff's kind of hard to see pencil marks on, unfortunately. Normally I use a mechanical pencil, but I'm using a carpenter's pencil because it gives a fatter line, so it's a little easier to see. But it's dark brown oak color. So the front of the jam we got 3 and 15/16. Also, with these normal newer houses, you should undercut these jambs and then you can slide the plank underneath the jamb. But here, this house is about probably 80 to 100 years old, so these jambs are like 2 or 3 inches wide wood. It's real thick wood. And I just got my oscillating tool. I don't have an actual undercut saw, which is basically a circular saw turned sideways that sticks out so you can cut off the bottom of the jamb and then pull the whole piece of wood out. This one you just set the plank there and then you'd like that in theory, but I don't do it with these because it's such a pain in the ass. It takes longer, it kills the whole blade. I just think it's easier to cut tight to the jamb. I mean, here I got this cut pretty tight and this cut pretty dang tight. Then they'll be, I don't know if you can see the gap or not, but they'll be quarter round right here, so they'll all be covered and hidden. I got a couple that might need a little bit of caulk, but you know, it is what it is. It's an older house as well. So, anyways, not that that has anything to do with it. So, I forgot what I measured here. So we are 3 and 15/16 from the bottom of the plank. I measure from the bottom of this piece of wood here, not from this gray. This gray is the piece that slides into this tongue right here. Basically, these are tongue and groove, so they just slide into each other like so, and voila. So you want to measure off of the edge of the wood right here, not right there like so. You don't want to measure like that. It's more of a pain, but It gives a more accurate measurement. Especially on this side, which has got the bigger tongue. You can do it both ways. I like to try to work off of the front, technically, opposed to the back. Sometimes, you know, you gotta turn around and go backwards, like in the closet. Goes both directions. It's a pain, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So, I would definitely use a square. I always use a square. I think it just makes everything easier and keeps everything nice and straight. So, there's our straight line here. It consisted there. We got a little bit of an angle here. So the angle I just guess on, see, it goes over about 1/8. So, I'm not sure if you can see the pencil marks at all, but my pencil mark's right here. So I'll bring it over 1/8 and then draw a crooked line over to this. But I do need to find out where this is from this direction. So, let's see. I will take my piece in here. That way I actually have something to measure off of before I just measured off a guess. But I measured over 14 5/8. So we want this to be 14 5/8 from there. There. So basically I'm just using this edge as a guide so I know how far I'm measuring over. So to this one we want to be 15 1/8 inch over. There we go. Sorry if this is hard to follow, guys. I've been doing this a while. All the stuff I'm saying makes sense to me, obviously, but if you've never done this before, it might be a little bit harder to follow. So, I do apologize. I'm doing the best I can to try to teach. I'm not the best teacher, but I'm learning. I'm starting to have to do it at work now, so I'm learning a little bit. But anyways, so if you didn't understand, I just put this piece here to measure off of. So this is where, this right here where I put this plank is where this seam will be. So that's why I measured off this to here and this to here. So that's my measurement from the seam to this side of the jam. I just guessed on this angle right here. I just eyeballed it, moved it over about 1/8. So now we'll cut it. I'm going to assume this is straight. I don't really have a way to... Alright, the nice creaky door. I don't have a way to check that it's straight at the moment, so I'm going to assume it is. I'm just going to measure the same distance to right here. Well, no, at 1/8. So we're 4 7/8, so I'll make a 5 down there just in case it's crooked. That gives me a little bit of leeway. So now I take another full plank, which I don't have. So I go for my pencil mark up there. I just use these planks as a straight edge. They're nice and rigid. You just got to be careful to not jump onto this tongue right here and slice into the tongue. So there we go. I have a mark down there. I use my knife to hold me on and then line it up on the top. Then just follow the groove, or the tongue right here, down to there. Score it twice, make it easier to snap. This stuff is a little bit difficult to snap by hand, but I definitely don't like using hand saw on every cut, circular saw. So I just put it over my knee, push down on both sides, and then it'll bend. It is kind of a pain to do on these long pieces. You can use pliers on little small pieces, but here on this, I just ruined the piece I want. So, not very good. So there we go, we got it cut there. Now, I take the oscillating tool, which is also what I use, to cut, and then we just follow the pencil mark here. Now, ta-da! Just like so. Nice, clean, relatively clean cut. You gotta be pretty good with this oscillating tool to do this. I think it's the easiest way, opposed to using a jigsaw or a circular saw, which of course you can obviously use as well. I just think these are a little safer, because I can, you know, and I'm fine. I mean, obviously if I pushed and went full force, it probably hurt a little bit, but this blade's not nearly as sharp, but it's definitely sharp enough to cut this stuff. This is just vinyl, kind of like plastic, so it cuts it pretty easy. Whereas if I slip with a circular saw, I'm going to cut my finger off, and I don't want that. So, and I don't want to set up sawhorses or a platform to cut these on or anything like that. So I prefer the oscillating tool. I think it's a little safer, a little easier to use. Blades are a little bit expensive, though. That's the only downfall. But you can buy them on Amazon for cheap. So, all right, guys. So we got it cut. Let's see if it'll fit into place. If you're wondering who I am to be showing you guys how to do this and teaching you, I am a little bit more than a DIY guy. I am, ooh baby, that's a crooked wall. Good Lord, I should push in a little bit. So we got the cut made. It's pretty good, minus a little bit of crookedness. But we should be able to push that in with the next plank. And we should be good to go. But we got it nice and tight around the door jamb, which is what I was really looking for. This is going to be some quarter on here, so once I push this in, put some quarter on there, it'll be good as gone. If you are wondering, this is not my house. This is a house I'm doing for somebody. He's paying me to do this, but I had a few minutes spare, so I figured I'd show you guys how to do this. Make a video, do his job all in one, so double win. So we're trying to slide under this jam here, so we should be able to get it. Let's see.
Put that cookie down now!
Another one good. So basically I use this tapping block here. It's just basically a piece of plastic, but it's grooved for the vinyl planks. It's got two different choices. This one is good for the tongue and groove. This one is good for laminate flooring. But it's basically just got two little bumps. One to hit this front of this plastic, or the vinyl, and then one to catch on the actual face of the vinyl. And then it pulls it over when you smack it with a hammer. Then I smack it down to connect the seam. This one is a drop down. It's on top. So basically here's the grooves for you to see. So this one, it's flat and then it bumps up and it's got that. And then the receiving piece, where there's one, has basically got the opposite. So you just smack these down with a mallet and then they hold themselves together. That's why it's floating floor. So here is the front seam. It's basically similar. You just slide and tuck it under, and then it catches on that part right there. And that's how it holds it in. There are some that slide it and tuck together on both sides with more of a pain. These ones are nicer style. These ones are a little more expensive, I believe, as well. Alright, so the door's done. Now I can show you guys how to finish it out. Basically, I'm going to take a row here and go towards each wall, and then I'll start on one wall and work my way through the room. So yeah, I will show you guys how to do that. So pattern-wise, I'm just doing random here, if you can't tell. So I'm just going to take a tile here, put it somewhere that's not super close to the seam on the other tile. Voila, just lift it up, slide it down into it, and you're good. So there's a couple ways to cut this. What I've been doing lately is I just flip the piece over, put it up to the wall, to my square, right here, up against the edge of the plank, and cut. I've got this backwards, so it should go in this direction, but if you flip it over and you run it up to the wall, right here on your seam should be your perfect cut to be up against the wall here. Normally, if I was doing it the other direction, I would take an 1/8 of an inch off or so, just to slide it over an inch. But we've got this tongue here, so that is the gap in the wall there, because you want to have a little bit of a gap up against the wall, so I'm just using that as the gap. There's other ways to cut this lengthwise. You can measure and cut it as well, but I think this is a little more accurate. And I always measure and I subtract an inch somehow, or I always lose an inch when I do something. I'm not sure what I do, but I end up losing it, but I gotta go back and cut it again. This way I only gotta cut once. Voila, got about 1/4, 3/16 of a gap to the wall, which is what we want. Oh baby. Alright, so we got a little bit of gap there up against the wall. Now we're good. So basically, I can leave these two, or that cut out, and I'll leave that one out. Oh boy, sorry. So that cut up against the wall there is fine. I can drop that in at any time. Same if I finish that one to that wall, I can drop that piece in at any time. So basically now I'll just show you guys me going through the room. You can measure as well, though. That's about all there is to it, guys. Now I'll just work my way through the room. I'll speed that up and you guys can watch it if you want, but that's basically all there is to it. It's not extremely difficult to do. So, yeah.